Will Konami pull it off and provide a perfect remake of MGS Snake Eater?
Kept you waiting, huh?
Konami nowadays is nothing like it was during its golden era. Their attitude towards gamers shifted violently and not in our favor. So why do I think, you may ask, that despite their current politics, Delta will be a perfect remake? To answer that, firstly we have to dive into the past of Konami, which will be the best indicator of their future actions. Everything was great up to a point of fallout between Hideo Kojima with Konami.
He would not be allowed to travel to accept any awards.
That was the moment where Greedy Corpo concluded that making AAA games is too expensive and too long of a process.
Greed is right. Greed works.
I admit I am a fanatic fanboy of Kojima, but I doubted it was one-sided feud. My best bet is that he was milking Konami while constantly extending already long development of Phantom Pain. Endgame of it was cancelling third act of a game, and that was the moment when metaphorical shit hit the fan. After that, one thing was clear.
You're a man?
Konami reduced number of games in the making, and still today Fox Engine is being used in most of their titles. During that process, Konami turned to more safe investment in pachinko slot games, which in Japan is very easy and profitable way to invest safely while getting maximum of return profits. Probably you do remember the time when your heart started to pound when Metal Gear Solid 3 remake cutscenes appeared on the internet. Oh great, it was pain of disappointment after it turned out to be from the pachinko machines. Another blow was releasing new Metal Gear Solid game that turned out to be the worst case scenario that could ever happen to a brand. They used all the assets from the Phantom Pain and created true abomination for every Metal Gear Solid fan. Metal Gear Survive is something I still try to forget. It lacked good storyline, and in general it was made with minimum of effort, having no shame in disappointing literally everyone. For some time cash was coming in regularly with minimum of fuss, but then coronavirus happened. Public isolation started and pachinko ceased to be a profitable endeavor. So, Konami made one reasonable move. It was decided to focus on games again. Call me a pessimist, but it was coming from a mile off that they won't build anything new. So it was decided, resurrection of their best brands is a go. So we established then that Konami is doing everything while at the same time trying not to spend too much money or putting too much of an effort. So why do I think Delta will be a perfect remake? It doesn't seem like it makes sense, right? Well, the money question is, what is the perfect remake? Bear it with me, it will all fall into place in a minute. Well, perfection is mostly every man's definition. In my book, if you dare to touch such a cult classic like Metal Gear Solid 3 is, then you need to watch out. Too many changes will destroy original vision, especially without Kojima as a mastermind behind it. Good example of what I'm saying is Metal Gear Solid The Twin Snakes. It made few good changes, but overall gameplay was copied from Metal Gear Solid 2, while location stayed the same and it kind of messed up the balance of the exploration. Putting more enemies in the same locations made the game unbearably difficult, especially during alarm phase. Another little tweak was in making new music that was much less attractive than the original soundtrack. Changing camera outtakes in cutscenes was acceptable, but making them over action-packed mostly destroyed original vision from PS1 version. What I am getting at is that minor changes to a classic game that million people love can end up badly. Secondly, recently announced Metal Gear Solid collection has the same greedy symptoms of Konami behavior. Basically, collection will be Metal Gear Solid HD collection that is going to be lazily upscaled to 4K and released for all possible systems available. I'll bet that those games will use the same voice acting, no new dialogues line will be written, no changes to gameplay itself will be made.
Is he crying?
Other great example / great offender is Silent Hill HD collection, which Konami ordered and therefore was made by unexperienced developer. Konami was pressuring for quick release after success of Metal Gear Solid HD collection. At the same time, Corporation provided unfinished versions of Silent Hill 2 and 3, which resulted in a perfect mess. Textures were replaced, fog effect was butchered, interactive music was simplified, and game became infamous from those reasons. If we take that in altogether, then we got a clear view of what Konami is capable to do for an easy profit. So time for good news. Why do I think Metal Gear Solid Delta will be a perfect remake? Firstly, it is made in-house by Konami itself, and additionally it's supported by Virtuous Studio. After seeing first screenshots of Delta, I felt like home. Locations are exactly the same. Graphics itself look really nice, but it's a level of an upgraded Fox engine nice kind of thing. Level design seems to be identical. After rather poor reception of changes in Twin Snakes, Konami saw that it's easier to refrain from making changes. Risk is simply not worth the hassle, and it's more convenient and cheaper that way. That's why I think we can only count on changes in graphics, and maybe they will give new set of animations for all characters during exploration, since cutscenes were already made back then with usage of motion capture. On the other hand, History of Silent Hill Collection should provide Konami with enough data on a subject of what minimum requirements must be met so Delta becomes a pavement for a long road of safe remakes. Here lies my conclusion that Konami won't change anything except of what must be changed, and here's the best bit. Thanks to this safe approach, I truly believe that paradoxically, lack of changes will preserve the spirit of the original. Of course, it would be brave to make changes for such a classic, and it could work, but not without Kojima at the helm, in my opinion. I think that for all whom Metal Gear Solid is a religion, it would be a sacrilege to change cutscenes, story itself, or dialogues, because it's too easy to break a masterpiece. Unfortunately, I'm afraid that they will use the same system of picking camo, which is in my eyes the biggest flaw in Snake Eater mechanics, which should be resolved like it was present in Guns of the Patriots. Again, my hopes go for an off chance that Konami will copy that from Metal Gear Solid 4 like it did back in the day for the Twin Snakes with using Metal Gear Solid 2 mechanics. The bottom line is that if you are a die-hard fan of Snake Eater, then there is a huge chance that Konami politics will work on our favor. There is of course one big smelly but if you are expecting real changes in Metal Gear Solid 3 formula. My bet is that it's going to be a safe remake that will disappoint people expecting similar treatment like Resident Evil 2 got, which was a reimagination of old while creating something familiar yet kind of new. Here will be an opposite, and I'm glad because we deserve a faithful recreation of the original.
I've spread my dreams under your feet. Tread softly.
Only time will show if I got it right. Over and out.